Hey friends, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm in my afterglow of having a speech. I just gave a speech for a group called BDO, which is a large full service accounting firm here, well, across the world. And it was just amazing to get a chance to sit down and talk with the individuals that work there, because it really had me reflect on just the joy of sharing my story. And it ties into, the video that I posted last week where I shared about my surgery and just about my fear on sharing about that experience, just my fear in sharing about myself. It's funny how people in the public eye can be seen as being, very outgoing, and I am, but then I have, as I mentioned before, that opposite side of also being, an introvert. Anyway, I feel a sense of thankfulness because, one, so many people wrote to me to tell me their story of having either had heavy bleeding, heavy periods, fibroids, whether they also had the same surgery that I'd had, and they shared the suffering that they did in silence because of that experience. And my heart just feels so full that they would share that with me, and it makes me realize that being silent has not in general been a healthy or good thing for me, Yeah, good things have come when I have spoken up and spoken out. And, it can often just be to a person, like another friend, or I can just say, like, from my experience this morning, getting to talk to all of those people about my story, that's really been helpful for me as well. So I don't know how much you know, but I was hit by lightning almost 10 years ago on, I think, June 8th, 2013. So we're coming up on the 10th year anniversary. And I didn't want to tell anybody, I still remember when I went to travel. I think I had a concert, I want to say maybe 10 days later. I had concerts in France. And I'm there and I'm dragging my leg, trying to get around. My brain totally fried. My left side totally weakened. And I was just not myself. But I had learned, that the show must go on. That we don't, tell people when we're suffering. We don't speak about that. You don't want to speak that into existence. You don't want to share too much of your story. You want to be private. Those were all of the things that were going through my head. You don't want to show weakness. That was another one. I don't want venues to be frightened and cancel my gigs. I didn't want people to know that I was suffering. And so I just remember going through sound check and not saying anything, not telling anybody. And finally, I think it was when I was doing the concert. So first of all, we knew something was fishy because I think I sat down for that show, right? And if you've seen me in concert, you know that I like to dance. I like to, I like to move. But I was seated for that show. I could not hold my microphone. I could not be like that crazy, across the stage, dancing, feeling the music, living through the music, barefoot girl that I had been used to being. And so I think probably the musicians knew something was off, and the audience, if they'd seen me before, knew something was off. But then finally, at some point, somewhere in that experience, like on stage while singing, I was given the courage to speak up and to tell people what had happened. And yeah, I'm glad I did, obviously, because all of a sudden now, like, when people know you're struggling, you don't have to struggle alone. You know, I didn't have to, like, my bandmates were amazing. They were my band of brothers. You know, they made sure that I got where I needed to get to. I think the next time I had a wheelchair. And so that changed everything about the way that I was moving in the world. It's you know, when I'm just thinking back on, like, so much of not speaking up is like just not realizing that you'll be okay, you know, or at least me, I can only speak for myself. Me not realizing that I would be okay by being honest about what I've been going through or what's been happening. And so, like, when you get over, or again, when I have gotten over that, like, pit in my stomach, that horrible feeling, that horrible sensation of dread, of fear, of, oh my God, like, I can't say these things out loud, you know, when I've gotten over that experience, the relief, the relief. Yeah, just having this talk, like being able to give my story to this group, is just bringing back so much up for me. You know, it's bringing back, like, so that was in 2013, I had the lightning strike. And then in 2015, I fainted and I hit my head. Another thing I didn't really want to tell people. Oh my God. It's just my autopilot. My autopilot is to go silent. And suffer in silence. But yeah, like that, when I finally spoke up and told people that I was struggling then, and that I'd had that second brain injury, my friends, like Amanda Martinez, who, you know, just saved my life. You know, she set up a GoFundMe. She raised over $40,000 that my family and I lived on. I know, like, what world can you live on $40,000 in North America? But we lived on that for a year. It was amazing. And I mean, what helped also was that somebody gave us a place to live for free. You know, people came out and helped in so many ways. I have to one day share that story of just like what my community did for me. And all of that came out of speaking up. Speaking up. Yet, I find it easy. You know what I mean? It's like, I know it. 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 I know it in my heart. But it's still a muscle that I need to exercise on a daily basis. And so, you know, for me, I try my best to talk to a friend every day, and to just, it doesn't have to be not the same friend, like I mix it up, and I listen, and I try not to only listen because that's like another thing that I can do. I can get very much into helping mode by just listening. Before it used to be like into fixing mode, but I'm learning to keep my mouth shut and to mind my own business. But at the same level, I also need to share as well and allow others to help me and allow others to listen, even if the help that they're giving is just being a listening ear. You know, that's huge. That is huge. So yeah, this video is a thank you for letting me share my story with you, you know, through the years, through these speeches, through these videos, when I'm writing, when you come to my shows, and you listen to me and you laugh with me and you cry with me. I feel a huge sense of thankfulness for this, my community, and I hope that you consider me a part of your community as well. And yeah, thanks for I mean, I understand that there's that every community has its dangers, you know, and so it's not always safe, but I felt safe enough last week to share my story with you, and so thanks for helping me feel that way. So sending you a big hug wherever you are. I know this is like a really tight hug, but I'm trying to keep it within the screen. This is a hug. This is kind of creepy actually. Let me just like pull that back. Sending you a hug. Thank you for everything. Yeah. And yeah, speak up. Speak up.